Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of my brand new podcast. That's right, we are here. We are back after a very, very long time because we're talking about my favorite thing in the world, and that's Ring of Honor. So, welcome to All Things Honor. If you are new here, my name is Kimmy Sokol, and I do a lot of cool things. I write for the Pop Break, I'm on the BCP, I commentate for Goddesses of War. And I also work the convention scene and get to work with some really cool people. And now I'm the host of All Things Honor. So welcome. Thanks for joining. And of course, this is a new era of honor, as they emphasized a lot on this episode, because this is episode one of the new Ring of Honor. So first, I think we have to talk about the presentation of this show. A lot of people were very excited they were going to Universal. If you don't know, this is also where they have the dark tapings. And it was really giving that NXT vibe, like the 2014, 2015, but also you had the old school red ropes that Ring of Honor had. You also had the short entranceway, and it looked really good. It looked really clean. I was kind of shocked they didn't have like an intro though, because I would think because they filmed 4 episodes that they could, make graphics for an intro to this. But you know what? It's a work in progress. It's okay. We're gonna work on it. So the other thing I really liked was the crowd was on fire for this. And if you were following along of people that were at the tapings, that's what people said, like, oh my God, the crowd was on fire. They were nonstop throughout the night. And you really saw this. Like from Slim J versus Mark Briscoe all the way to the main event, which was Claudio and AR Fox, like this crowd never stopped. And I think that attributes to the great talent that Ring of Honor has now, the historic 21 years that Ring of Honor has been a company. That's right. Ring of Honor is as old as me, guys. We are me and Ring of Honor are the same age. I'm pretty sure they're a couple months older than me, but we are the same age. So that's kind of cool. So I'm not gonna go through every single segment. We're gonna talk about things I like, things of importance. So let's start with the first match, which was Slim J versus Mark Briscoe. So how almost important, right? Well, important is not the right word, but I guess I can't think of the right word. It's not important. It's like special. We'll use special. That Mark Briscoe, who was one of the OGs, if you watch the Jay Briscoe tribute show, they very much mentioned the fact that the Briscoes were so in tune with staying in Ring of Honor that every time their contract was up, they always used to joke like, "Oh, we're gonna go to WWE. Oh, we're gonna go to Impact. Oh, never mind. They rolled us back in for another couple years." And he started off this new era. I've never seen Slim J before, but I do think that this team of Slim J and Arya Davari and Mark Sterling, the Trustbusters, are going to be very essential in Ring of Honor. I think you're going to see them a lot more, especially since Arya Davari actually got the win here in his match later on. But this was really fun. And I think the thing about Ring of Honor is there's truly something for everybody here. Like, if you're into the technical wrestling, they have that with the pure title. We'll get into that when we talk about Zack Sabre Jr. You have the high flying stuff like Metalik. You have awesome women's wrestling. So if there's any type of wrestling that you really enjoy, Ring of Honor has it in some sort of fashion. This match was a really good way to really just hype up the crowd, get the crowd excited for this new Ring of Honor. Mark Briscoe picks up the win. But since we're a month out from Supercard of Honor, or technically 3 weeks, I guess it's kind of what are we doing with these tag titles? So I would not mind if we live in a world where Mark Briscoe just defends them by himself. I think that'd be really cool. So he could carry on the Briscoe legacy. I also wouldn't mind, I know I was talking to somebody about this, if he defended them with one of Jay's like arch rivals. So like if he teamed up with Christopher Daniels and defended the titles, or if he teamed up with Adam Cole and defended the titles, like I wouldn't mind that either. But I guess it's just really interesting to see what is going to happen because I think we do have to make a decision at some point. Since, like I said, the pay-per-view is 3 weeks away. But you know what? If they want to literally like go on a thing where Mark Briscoe defends it by himself, go right ahead. I'm all for that decision. Next, we had my favorite people, the Kingdom, because they're great. Ring of Honor OGs versus a new team, the Infantry. This was good. I think the Kingdom are people that over the last 2 years have really cemented themselves in tag team wrestling, and I feel like they're so underrated. And they are going to be, again, people who are the face of Ring of Honor. And this was just a fun tag team match. We got to see Maria, my wrestling mentor, OG, amazing person, has done so much for me personally. Just kill it. Like I wouldn't even mind if like Bennett went after the Pure title again because I know they were hinting at that of like their history with Ring of Honor. You know, Bennett was with the Pure division before Ring of Honor closed their doors. Taven, of course, is a Grand Slam champion. If you guys don't remember when they went to MSG, Taven won the Ring of Honor title. A lot of people don't know that, but Taven was the one who won. Just hold up Madison Square Garden. So this was really fun. I mean, like I said, I think that the Ring of Honor tag team division is something that's really, really good right now. They have a lot of teams in there, and especially since they are actively looking for new talent, and there's a lot of people, a lot of tag teams on the indies. This is something that's really going to build up and maybe do a little bit better than what AEW is doing with their tag team division right now. But if you listen to the AEW or Ring of Honor media call after Final Battle, Tony Khan emphasized the fact that they have a growing relationship with New Japan, and we saw this with Zack Sabre Jr. and Blake Christian, and this was just insane. Like, the thing I really like about the TV title is that it's only 15 minutes. So it's not going to be super long. It's not going to be super short. It's going to be like an average 10 to 12-minute match every single time this title is defended. And I mean, he called out Bryan Danielson. Are we finally getting this match? I mean, remember, we got screwed out of it at Forbidden Door because of Bryan being hurt. So are we finally going to get this at Forbidden Door 2? Is Bryan Danielson going to come down to Ring of Honor and that's going to be the match at Supercard of Honor? You know, well, you never know what's going to happen. And that's something I really love. But Junior's incredible. I'm someone who really doesn't like technical wrestling as much, but Junior is just insane. He's not really like a technical wrestler. He's also someone that can go high paced. He's someone that could just counter so many submission moves. And Blake Christian, my God, I think he is signed to Ring of Honor. I know that there's people that we, the public, don't know are signed to Ring of Honor, and I'm pretty sure he's one of those people because he's been used a lot. I like he said in his promo right before that on the first Ring of Honor show he was called in and he was like, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. So this is a great match. If you're gonna watch any of the matches on this episode, I recommend that one. It was like 13 minutes. Got the job done. 10 out of 10. Would recommend. So I don't so Daniels and Raju also wrestled. Nothing special. Happy that Daniels is repping Ring of Honor. I could actually see him if it becomes too much for Tony Khan to do both Ring of Honor and AEW, that Daniels comes in and runs Ring of Honor, which would be super cool. Josh Words versus Takeshita. Oh my God. So can we talk about his backstage segment where Sterling was like, oh, no, 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 Josh Woods doesn't want to have this match. And and Takeshita just like stands there and rips up the contract. Takeshita is, to me, one of the best signings for AEW. Like, he's someone that came in, he was just used on Dark. He was used in a Dark match with Kenny Omega that loves Cinnabons. If you're not following him on Twitter, you should do that because he loves Cinnabons. And a lot of people got behind him, and I think that's really what got him to AEW. He was inserted in that MJF Bryan Danielson feud a little bit on AEW a month ago. So they obviously see something in him. He showed out huge last night in the Face of the Revolution ladder match, but he's great. I mean, I think depending on what happens in the main event of Super Art of Honor between Kingston and Claudio, I think Takeshita could really be the face of Ring of Honor. If they're not going to use him in AEW, because I think that they really have to do a fine line between who's in Ring of Honor and who's in AEW, because right now we have people appearing on both shows. And Tony Khan has said for a year now that he wants to make the line really, really like these people are in Ring of Honor, these people are in AEW. So if Takeshita is someone that's going to stay in Ring of Honor, I could see this, that he's going to be the face, he's going to be a champion, all that fun stuff. This match was really good. I think Josh Woods was a perfect signing for them. I mean, he's a former peer champion. And I mean, like I said, Takeshita is just great. Great talent all around. Embassy squashed three local competitors in a six-man tag team title match. And I mean, okay, so here's my thing. I hate the six-man titles because I think they are so pointless. Because if I'm looking at Ring of Honor right now, and I know what happens, I think it's episode 2 or 3 of like who the team's gonna be to face them at Supercard of Honor. There's no trios teams. Unless you're gonna put the dark, like if you're gonna put the Dark Order in Ring of Honor, I could see it. Way to go. Great idea. But you're probably not gonna do that. So to me, I just think like we can eliminate these titles and possibly have another mid card title. I mean, I know there's technically two with the pure title and also the TV title. And obviously if we're gonna have New Japan Stars, if that TV title is gonna be something prominent on AEW or Ring of Honor TV, don't know if that was a one off or not. But I think because our roster is so saturated, I think it'd be good if they had another mid card title. So I would love that substitution, but that's probably not gonna happen. But yes, please get rid of these titles. If you're gonna listen to me for one thing, get rid of the 6-man titles. Metal League versus Ari Daivari. This also was really good. I mean, Ari Daivari is a fantastic hire for them too, just from a backstage standpoint. I mean, he's someone that was, I believe he was a producer in WWE. And he's one of those guys that like he knows what he's doing. And he got the win here. Like I said, I think the Trustbusters are very going to be a huge role in Ring of Honor. So don't be shocked if like you see that. And he won. That's also cool too. So hell yeah. The Renegades are all now the Renegades have had a very interesting 2022 because they were featured on AEW a lot. They were obviously on these tapings. They just won slash lost the NWA Women's Tag Team Championships. And I think the key thing here is like they have a theme song. And I think you were kind of able to tell like who they have an idea of people that they are going to constantly use versus people that they aren't going to use as much. And the Renegades, like I said, have a theme song, have a Titantron. So they're obviously going to use them a lot. So I could also see the Renegade Twins being signed to Ring of Honor. I think that's a good signing too because they are really, really talented. I'm loving this team of Madison Rain and Sky Blue, and I'm not someone that's going to sit here and be like, you know what, we should have women's tag team titles. Because no, because then you're just forcing a bunch of women to be tag teams. I don't want that, especially in AEW, because or Ring of Honor. Because let me tell you, this women's division, I have high hopes for it, and we're going to get to that in the next match. But I like that Sky Blue's adding the blue back to her hair because I remember when she like first came in, and like even recently on AEW, people were like, why is she called like I would be watching Dynamite with people. I'd be like, why is she called Sky Blue? She has nothing blue about her but her gear. And I'm like, well, she used to have blue hair and she's adding it back. So this is good. I think Reigns having a really, really big emphasis in Ring of Honor as well. I mean, she's also someone that has a great mind of it. She's been in the business for 15, 20 years at this point. Huge in Impact slash TNA. I know a lot of people have mixed emotions about her, but I've worked with her, one of the nicest people ever. And the only person I could run around a Walgreens candy store with and just pick off any single candy we want. And we're like, oh my God, we want this, and we want this, and we want this. Best time ever. But like I said, this match was really good. And the Renegades got a lot of offense. And I think the one thing that I really noticed about this Ring of Honor show too is that a lot of people said on Twitter, like, oh my God, it's 10 matches and it's going to be like dark. And it's going to be like Elevation, where it's going to be like 2 minute squashes. And it wasn't that. Even the squash match with the Embassy lasted about 5 to 6 minutes. So every single match on this card got time. And you could kind of tell where they were going with these next segments, what they were trying to tell the viewers. And I think that's a great thing about AEW compared to other companies. They try to tell a story with what they are selling you on TV. It's very important. Very, very important. So this was good. Yuta had a promo and he had said like remember BCC is trying to do this heel thing going on right now. And Ian Riccaboni, I guess, called him like a junior member. He was like, I'm not a junior member, I'm a champion. And he had an open challenge. Thatcher came out. Thatcher's someone who I could see being in Ring of Honor. I think he fits the pure division perfectly, since I really don't know. Obviously, they're not going to put Daniel Garcia down there. I know that. But I don't know what the mind is for the pure division. But if the idea is, so I have this theory that every single person has a Ring of Honor champion right now. So Claudio, Yuta, the Embassy, Athena, Joe. I think I got everybody. If I got everybody in one take, that's pretty good. So, and obviously Mark Briscoe. So everyone that's a champion right now, excluding Briscoe, I think if they're gonna win their championship match with Supercard of Honor, they're staying in Ring of Honor and they're not going to AEW. If they lose, that means they're only going to AEW, and this is the last time you're going to see them in Ring of Honor. So keep that in mind because I think Yuta is someone who I think there's more utilization for him up on the main roster than Ring of Honor at the moment. I think there's a lot that he could do, especially because it doesn't make sense if like Moxley and Danielson are up on the main roster and then Claudio and Yuta are down in Ring of Honor. Like I just can't see that being a cohesive thing. So I think that all the BCC members are going to be up on AEW. So I think Yuta's gonna lose. Not to Thatcher, because I know he retains, but he is wrestling Shibata, I believe, to Guard of Honor. So if Shibata's staying here, he's most likely gonna lose. Then, oh, oh my girl. Willow's great. So for those who don't know, I was involved with the women's tournament that Ring of Honor was trying to start, or it did start, it did conclude. We had a whole thing about it. The women's tournament that had taken place before Ring of Honor closed their doors, and Willow was somebody that literally Maria told me, like, look out for Willow. She is going to be one of the top stars, and she was right. How could you hate her? She's so talented. She's so positive. Like, I cannot see them turning Willow heel. I just don't think it's possible. And Lady Frost, for those who don't know, she was an Impact for a little bit, and they didn't really use her, so she left. But she's also someone that's really talented on the indies. She's been seen a lot, so I really think if we're really going to build this women's division, they should sign Lady Frost, as well as Trisha Dora, as well as Miranda Alize. I could do a whole episode of people that they should sign to this women's division if they just give me the book. This match is really good. I think like it got a lot of time. I think both women are super, super talented. And the woman, like just the women's roster all across wrestling right now, not just Ring of Honor, but like AEW, WWE, NXT, Impact, the Indies are just fluctuated with so many talent that like you really can't go wrong. You really can't. Like, how? How could you go wrong with this? At the end, Willow said that, she's happy. It's a new Ring of Honor, new era. And she called out Athena. Athena first jokes that she doesn't want to wrestle Willow, and they have that match set next week. And that makes me kind of sad because I would have rather seen this. Like, I believe what we're going with is like Athena's gonna verse Yuka Sakazaki at the pay-per-view. And I would have rather seen Willow, to be honest. Because I feel like that's what we're heading towards. Like, I do not believe we're going to live in a world by the end of 2023 that Willow does not hold this Ring of Honor World Championship. I love Athena. I think her heel turn is great. I think it's one of the best things that is in AEW/Ring of Honor right now. But I think this match is a match that could have been on the pay-per-view. I don't think it should just be on like the second episode of Ring of Honor TV. And then we had a main event. Oh, we had a main event. We had Claudio versus AR Fox. Claudio picks up the win here. And this match was really good. This was a good match. And so Claudio wins, obviously, after a great back and forth. I feel so bad for AR Fox because I feel like he gets put in like these really high match stakes and then he loses. And you're like, oh. But I feel like AR Fox in the position because he is an older talent. And again, I think he's someone that is more of like a backstage mind than like actually like going to accomplish things on screen, that it's okay that he is doing that, but he is so talented. Another smart signing by Tony Khan. And so, match ends, Claudio celebrating, and Eddie Kingston, the guy who quit AEW. And everyone was like, oh my God, what does this mean? And then if you saw the taping results, everyone was like, oh, he's going to Ring of Honor. This is no big deal, guys. And he called out Claudio. He said that he made a promise to Jon Moxley that he wouldn't beat him up in AEW. This is not AEW. This is Ring of Honor. And Claudio walks out. Doesn't even like shake his hand and be like, yeah, this is going to be the title match. No, he literally walks out and he gets booed. Like I said, the BCC is kind of going for heels, so this really didn't shock me. But this is the matchup we're going to go with for the pay-per-view. I do believe Kingston is going to just be the face of Ring of Honor. I feel like you could really, because he's really put in the work, especially during the pandemic, you can have this whole company be around him. You can. He knows what he's doing. He's talented. He can cut a promo. He's great for advice. I think if you've seen really any AEW interview that like people have talked about Eddie Kingston, they've said like, Eddie's always been there for advice about matches, promos, or anything you really need. So I think that they're really going to utilize him for that. And overall, this was really fun. The 2 hours flew by. So, well, it was an hour. It was 2 hours and 5 minutes. Leave the time for the 5 minutes, right? And it didn't feel like it dragged. Every match was so engaging, super fun. They hinted a lot of matches for next week. I think what they're trying to do, they're trying to do two matches per like two title, not two matches in general, two title matches per episode, which I think it keeps it engaging because it makes, the titles relevant again. Because a lot of people were complaining, oh my God, AEW TV still shows so much Ring of Honor. And now they're not going to do that anymore because we have our own TV deal. So yay. But like I said, this was fun. It was a fun episode. It kept you engaged. The other thing I really liked is they really emphasized the fact of like the honorable handshakes before and after all the matches, which is something that like, for 21 years Ring of Honor has like honed in of like this is something we do. It keeps us different from every other promotion under the sun. So yeah, that was that. Loving. I love it. I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this podcast goes. I'm excited to see where Ring of Honor goes. Like my honorable heart just feels so full. Like I'm sitting here with a brand new smile on my face. I love it. I love everything about it. But that's going to be it for episode uno. So you could see this obviously on the Can We Talk Wrestling YouTube if you want to see my beautiful face. But if you don't have time for that, I completely understand because this is also available on Spotify and Anchor or wherever else you get your podcast as I'm trying to figure that out right after this is over. You can follow me on Twitter at Kimmy_Sokol, SOKOL, to find out all my other projects. And until next time, happy wrestling, everybody.